Okay, tutorial 4 of Autodesk Inventor Professional. So we're still in the 2D sketching. Last tutorial I did patterns. There's one thing I forgot to mention that I figure I'll throw in here. So when we've made our pattern, let's just make a rectangular array again. Okay, we got a rectangular array. If we want to delete it, this is the original geometry, and these are formed off the pattern. So if we select and right click on the pattern, we can delete pattern, and that'll delete the whole thing, and then original geometry we can just select and hit the delete key to delete, just as you would a standard drawing of any other sort. So let's move on to modify now. Modify, these are very useful, especially a few of them, so we'll be using them very often. So let's just move through all of them. So the move one, unfortunately it's not nearly as good as the move on AutoCAD. I rarely use this move. I'll show you why. So if we make a circle, we want to move it, select your base point, and then you can just basically move it here. It's great if you have a base point that you can snap to, and then another base point where you also can snap to. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Copy. This is obviously useful, so select our geometry, pick a base point, and we make copies, just as the name implies. Escape to exit, and now we got copies. They're all individual objects. We can delete them like we normally would. Alright, rotate. That won't be able to be shown on a circle, so let's make a rectangle. Alright, let's rotate this guy. Rotate, select the geometry. We want to rotate our rectangle. Center point, this is our axis of rotation. Let's rotate it around this corner. That shouldn't come up. That's just because I clicked it in the... I don't need to worry about that. Okay, so now we pick our angle. We can either just click somewhere, or we could click somewhere precise that it snaps to, or we could enter an angle. So let's rotate it 90 degrees. Actually 90. Let's do 65. There, so you can see it's clearly rotated. Done. Okay. Trim, extend, and split. So these are useful for lines. I'll show you in which way. So if we have a line that goes like this, maybe like that too, we want to trim it. I'll show you what trim does. Trim will cut it between two other lines. So we can trim out this from here to here on this line. So there, it trims it out of the box. Let's trim this guy too. Another example, we could trim out this corner. Basically, if you have two fencing lines, we can trim out the stuff in between. Very, very useful tool. Extend, if we want to extend this past a fence, we can use the extend tool. So you can see it just, if you put your cursor over it, it'll extend it. That's where it originally was. It just extends a straight line, so we click it to do that. Escape to exit as usual. Scale. Once again, not as useful as in AutoCAD itself, but it still works. So scale it. We can pick a base point. Let's pick that. And you can use your cursor, but it's really hard to use a cursor for this because you generally want to scale things precise amounts. So let's just enter a value in here manually. Let's scale it by a factor of 1.5. It should be 1.5 times as big. Apply. There it is. Scaled. Exit that command. Offset. Nobody cares about stretch. Forget stretch. So offset. I'll show you what offset does. Just like it does in AutoCAD. Click your geometry, and then we can offset. So you offset a certain distance. It's sort of it's really hard for me to explain. I don't really know how to explain what it does, but it'll make a copy that sort of everything's just smaller or bigger. If you can see what it's doing here. Now in AutoCAD, you would click it and you enter an offset distance. So if we want to offset it a meter or a foot, we can offset it that far. But here I showed you how to do this before. First we draw and then we constrain. So now if we want to set our offset distance, let's say we want this to be 5, and then this distance here to be 5 as well. We just go through like that. just like I showed you, adding dimensions to constrain things, and this can be 5 as well. When I'm doing this, hitting dimension, it's opening the this dialog box on my other screen every time, so I'm basically just typing in a number on the other screen, so that's why you can't see it, but it should be the same on your computer. No problems with that. Stretch, we could do some stretching, so pick this, pick a base point. It's just saying I've already constrained this geometry, so what do you want to do about that? And basically I just told it to remove the constraints. Basically, as the name implies, all these are fairly simple for you to handle. So play around with all those drawing features, constraints, patterns, modify tools, and the next session we will make a useful sketch. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial, tutorial 4.